Yo, what's up everybody, it's your boy Elvious Void, back in the YouTube scenario. So yeah, I haven't posted for a very long time, but I had a lot to deal with, like in real life. I have school, I'm in the last year, year 13, so I have to do all my internals and all that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why I haven't been able to post for a long time. I've just been backed up with a whole bunch of work. But yeah, we're going straight back into what-ifs, and I'll probably be starting a new series as I don't really like the way that a lot of the series are going so far. I'll be continuing most of them, like the Tengen one, this one right now, the Naruto Rinnegan one, and probably a few of the other ones like Demon King Naruto and stuff like that. But I'll put a poll in sometime later to decide which what-if you guys would actually want the most. So yeah, if you do have any ideas, do put them in the comments below. And without further ado, let's just get right into this. The last arc I went over in this what-if was Naruto and Team 7 going off to the Land of Waves and completing the mission, killing both Zabuza and Haku by Naruto, as well as Gato being killed by the villagers in the Land of Waves. With them all completing the mission, going back to Konoha will now begin the Chunin exams arc. Naruto, inside of the Hokage Tower getting his payment for the mission that they had just gone on, would be sitting down with the Hokage, talking about a lot of things in Naruto's life so far. After knowing that Naruto did go on his training trip with Jiraiya and all that stuff, he would like to know a lot more about Naruto in general, as they didn't have a real good connection than they would have in the original, as Naruto did go off with Jiraiya for a lot of his childhood, and so the Hokage wouldn't have been able to properly take care of Naruto with himself being in the picture, in that sense, trying to console and do what Minato had wanted when he was on his last dying breath, with the Hokage and Naruto getting to know each other in a much deeper way, much like a grandpa and grandson type of way. Konohamaru would slam through the door, yelling that he's going to defeat the Hokage and become the new Hokage, the 5th Hokage. He would run over to Hiruzen, but would trip on his own scarf, landing face first into the ground. He would immediately stare up at Naruto with a few tears in his eyes and yell at Naruto that he tripped him up. Naruto would stare at Konohamaru and say that he had done no such thing, but Konohamaru wouldn't have it, and he would immediately try to attack Naruto. But before he could, he'd be propelled backwards, hitting the wall, not with a lot of force, just enough to slightly injure him in that way, just to get him off Naruto and not be able to touch him. He would immediately, with stars in his eyes, ask Naruto what that was and what jutsu it is, and to teach him that jutsu. But Naruto would explain that it's not something that can be taught to others, as it is something that is related to his eyes. Konohamaru, who had immediately noticed Naruto's eyes before walking into the room, would now realize that this boy is Naruto, as he had heard rumors all around the village that the demon brat, Naruto, has the Rinnegan, or what they had heard. A lot of them didn't know what it was, but Danzo, who had gotten this information and the actual appearance of the Rinnegan, would have spread it around the village in hopes to isolate Naruto even more. With him now knowing that, he'd be a little afraid, but now realizing that Naruto didn't actually hurt him a lot and just pushed him off him, would now try to have Naruto become his teacher. Ebisu would now come into the picture, slamming through the door, once again like Konohamaru, and immediately tell him to get away from Naruto. He would see the Hokage and immediately bow down to him, but everything would kind of go to the original after that. Konohamaru would try to follow Naruto out of the Hokage Tower and ask for him to be his teacher, with Ebisu losing Konohamaru in this little chase. Konohamaru would meet up with his two little gang friends and would then try to stalk Naruto, but with Naruto having an exceptional ability of sensory, he would immediately know where Konohamaru is, as well as the other two chakra signatures that he can feel near him. Going over, he would lift up the box and see the three, and they would all have cheeky smiles on their face, asking Naruto to teach them jutsus, as if he has the Rinnegan, then that means he must have a few different jutsus that aren't, apolitical, I think they say it, of the Rinnegan and all its jutsus that they've heard of. Well, they've only really heard of the base ones that Naruto has shown, as Danzo would have been keeping track on Naruto during his Team 7 test. So he would have known of, the Diva Path, as well as, having the Diva Path being used on himself just earlier. With that being said, they would all be talking to each other and would try to get Naruto to teach him a few jutsus, but Naruto, knowing that these people are just, genins and don't have a lot of chakra, they wouldn't be able to perform the jutsus that he has been taught to learn, which require a lot of chakra and a lot of chakra control, and as well, the different chakra natures that he has, all of them, but he doesn't know the chakra natures of Konohamaru and the other two children that are with him. Sakura would come towards Naruto, telling him that Kakashi has asked her to get him, as he has a few messages to give the three of them, or the team in general. Konohamaru would immediately ask Naruto if Sakura is his girlfriend, with Naruto saying no, he isn't that desperate, but Konohamaru would again say that's good because she has a massive forehead. Sakura would immediately be enraged by this and try to run after Konohamaru. Naruto would immediately whisper to him to run, and he would run as fast as he can in a Looney Tunes way, running away from Sakura. But Sakura would eventually catch up to him, but before she actually does, Konohamaru would run into the Sand 3, or the Sand 2 at this point, that being Kankuro and Tamari. Konohamaru would bump into Kankuro, slamming into him, and Kankuro would immediately grab Konohamaru and get ready to pummel him to the ground for disrespecting him in that way. But Sakura, seeing this, would immediately call for Naruto, as she knows that these people seem to be very strong and wouldn't be able to take care of, she wouldn't be able to take care of them by herself. Naruto, hearing this, would immediately shunshin towards their direction and would intercept Konohamaru's face from Kankuro's fist. Grabbing onto Kankuro's fist, he would tell Kankuro to let go of the boy, as there's no need for violence to be held in the village, as they are from different villages and could potentially start a war between the two villages. Kankuro would scoff, saying that he is the son of the Kazekage, and there's no way that a random nobody would be able to start a war between the two countries. Naruto would explain that Kankuro is the little grandson of the third Hokage, and Kankuro would take a step back, realizing that he could have just started a war between the two countries. Naruto would say that this whole meeting should be forgotten about to preserve the two countries' relations with each other. Kankuro would agree with sweat dripping down his face and would tell Tamari to go with him and to go towards their hotel in which they would be staying at. Leaving the three, that being Naruto, Konohamaru, and Naruto would sense that Gara is in the trees, as well as Sasuke, but decide that this is not the time to, meet the two of them, and would instead tell Sasuke that they need to leave, as apparently Kakashi has ordered Sakura to find the two of them and to meet him at the bridge to get some information out of him, or a message. Leaving, the three of them would immediately go towards Kakashi, and Kakashi would explain that they will be going into the tuning exams if they want, as he has enrolled them, I guess that's how you say it, you kind of enrolled them into the tuning exams. Naruto would immediately agree to do this, as well as Sasuke. And because of the two saying that they immediately agree, Sakura would kind of be peer pressured into agreeing with this, and the three would be enrolled into the tuning exams. The next day rolls apart, and the three would go towards the regular tuning exams place, and would meet all the other genin there. Walking into the little stage or the little classroom that they're supposed to be in, there'd be a wave of bloodlust shot towards Naruto and Team 7. Naruto wouldn't really feel any of this, as Naruto has been kind of trained in a way to deal with bloodlust and to shoot bloodlust back. Immediately sensing the bloodlust, he would kind of block it from hitting Sakura and Sasuke, as well as the other members of the Konoha 12, and would instead shoot a large amount of bloodlust back towards all the other Genin there, similar to the Ninetales bloodlust. Everyone would start to sweat and a few would pass out and would immediately be taken out of the arena as they are not fit to participate in the Chunin exams. With all the teams settling down, Ibiki would start the first phase of the Chunin exams and would hand out pieces of paper with the tests on them, numbering the questions from 1 to 10. Ibiki would say that to not answer the 10th question as that would be at the end of the exam, and the test would start, with Naruto being an exceptional genius compared to pretty much everyone there, being even smarter than Sakura. He would be able to answer all the questions from 1 to 9 very easily and wouldn't have to cheat at all, already knowing that this would probably be part of the test, to cheat and try to get as many answers from someone else as possible, but because he is that much of a genius, being probably smarter than Minato in his prime at this point, would be able to answer every single question with ease. The exam would finish and Ibiki would tell everyone that this will be the 10th question, as per usual. Everyone would have the exact same type of scenario, and Ibiki would say that if they don't answer the 10th question right, then they'll never be able to participate in the Chunin exams ever again. Everyone would start to freak out, except for Naruto, who knows that he'll probably be able to answer the 10th question, if he hasn't already figured it out at this point already, realizing this must be a type of scare tactic to try to get as many people out of the exam as possible at the start. With Ibiki now saying that anyone who wants to leave can leave now, a few people would start to walk out of the exam room, but Rock Lee would jump onto his desk and immediately say to everyone to don't leave, and that's not the proper ninja way, and they need to if they haven't trained as much as they could at this stage, then they should start to and still continue participating in the Chunin exams. With that being said, the original people, well, pretty much everyone that in the original would still stay in the exam, and Ibiki would say that that was an impressive thing from Rock Lee, and would say that everyone who had stayed has now passed and will be going on to the second phase of the exam, in which Anko would slam through the glass window and immediately say that they need to go to the Forest of Death for the second phase of the exam, licking her lips, looking at all of the new fresh genin. We'll cut to everyone at the Forest of Death. Sasuke, Sakura and Naruto would be handed the normal heaven scroll that they would normally be given, and would be explained the rest of the exam of phase 2, which you guys probably already know. So yeah, with Team 7 going into the Forest of Death, Naruto wouldn't have to go, tinkle his winkle, and would have to, still continue going off to try to find as many participants or other teams as possible to get the Earth Scroll from them. Naruto, as well as Team 7, would continue to go around and would find a random team, and with Naruto being there, being an absolute, an absolute gun, and Sasky, as well, being extremely strong compared to literally everybody else there, except for, Rock Lee, Neji, Gara, possibly all those other people from Sand Village, but that doesn't really matter. They'd be able to take the Heaven and Earth Scroll from two separate other teams that were in the Forest of Death, wouldn't killing them, but instead knocking them out and leaving them a bit injured, with Naruto being the one that kind of used the Diva Path to not universal pull, but, will be able to get the bells from using the Diva, not the bells, the scrolls using the Diva Path from these other participants. With that being said, they would continue to go and try to finish the rest of the exam, but would be intercepted by a giant snake and someone riding the snake. The snake would immediately try to target Naruto, getting him off Sasuke, as Orochimaru, instead of this way around going after Sasuke, he would instead try to go after Naruto. Hearing that Naruto is the Ninetales Shinchuriki, as well as having the Rinnegan, this is a mega, an absolute best body to be able to use the revival jutsu and to take his body. It'd be much better than the Uchiha's body, as this body has the Rinnegan as well as an abundance of chakra, being an Uzumaki, as well as the son of Minato, his once rival back in the old days when he was still alive. With taking Naruto out the picture, the snake would immediately go towards Naruto and try to bite down on him to try and take him somewhere else so that he can easily put the curse mark on him, as well as maybe getting the curse mark on Sasuke as a backup body, so to speak. Orochimaru would be able to easily get Sasuke and Sakura away from Naruto, but the snake would immediately implode as Naruto would use the summoning path to summon a massive dog into the arena around them. The dog would immediately destroy the snake and charge towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru would immediately kind of know the jutsus of the Rinnegan from his past affiliation with the Akatsuki, and would know a few of the jutsus like the Diva Path, the Animal Path, Predator Path, and those other paths. With the giant multi-headed dog storming towards Orochimaru, he would have to use different snake summonings to summon the massive snake boss. The snake boss, Manda's his name. I just had to Google that quickly. He would summon Manda, and Manda would immediately ask for sacrifices, but would then see the multi-headed dog and would think that he's fighting Pain from his past encounters with Pain and the early affiliations of the Akatsuki, as I said before. Naruto immediately summoned different summons, such as the giant bird, as well as the chameleon. Oh yeah, the snake-like chameleon with the tail and whatnot. And he would summon a whole bunch of summoned creatures to try and take care of Manda and get towards Orochimaru. Naruto would immediately use the Diva Path and would almighty push Orochimaru far away, sending him flying lots of kilometers away, destroying a lot of the trees and the other animals that are in the Forest of Death along with it, creating a massive meteor-like hole in the ground. Orochimaru would still be, he would be definitely, injured from this entire encounter and would have to spit out a new body, trying to get as much distance away from Naruto as possible. But Naruto would use the almighty pull and pull Orochimaru back towards him. Using the human path, Naruto would change his arm into a massive energy cannon and would prepare to launch a massive attack towards him. With Orochimaru soaring towards Naruto, with not being able to do anything about it, Naruto would get ready and would launch the massive pulverizing cannon towards Orochimaru, completely disintegrating him in that body. With Orochimaru now being dead. In this little scenario, Orochimaru would have to resurrect himself in someone else's curse mark, and would do so, which would be, later in that point. But so, Orochimaru is still alive, but the Orochimaru's body where Naruto is dead and gone. With the massive damage to the surrounding area from the massive almighty pool, the massive cannon, as well as the summons that Naruto had done and destroyed the surrounding, forest, they'd be desummoned, and Naruto would quickly use the King of Hell to help kind of heal both Sakura and Sasuke if they got injured during that entire fight. Seeing the King of Hell, Sasuke and Sakura would immediately freak out and ask Naruto what the hell this all is. Naruto explained that this is from the Rinnegan, and it's all the amazing abilities that he has from his amazing godlike dojutsu. Sasuke would be a little annoyed by this, as he thought the Sharingan is the most powerful dojutsu in the world, but obviously he's now wrong, and would have to try to surpass Naruto in every way, trying to learn different jutsus in the future. He would step into the King of Hell from Naruto, telling him that it's fine, and he'll be instantly healed, and would do so trusting Naruto, as he is, he's on the same team, so obviously he would have trust in his own teammates. Sakura would do so after seeing Sasuke going in and being immediately healed. They would take the scrolls that they had with them and immediately go off towards the middle of the Forest of Death, and would unseal the scrolls and would pass the second phase of the exam. Getting it and passing the second phase of the exam, Naruto would immediately tell them his encounter with the massive snake nin, who he would immediately know is Orochimaru, as he was, trained by Jiraiya and would have heard of the three Sannin, obviously. Seeming that his kind of father was one of the three Sannins who he grew up with, and would have obviously known about Orochimaru, who was a type of rival to his dad, but wouldn't push any further to it. He would tell the third Hokage about his encounter with Orochimaru, and would tell him that he killed him, but he doesn't really know about that, after hearing about the other horrendous jutsus that he has, being able to take the body of someone else after conflicting a curse mark onto them. He would tell the third Hokage about everything that happened and about the damage, and would apologize for, destroying pretty much a large area of the Forest of Death. With that being said, everyone would go towards the main arena, in which the third Hokage would tell everyone that there is too many people participating in the third part of the exam, and they would have to cut the numbers down by half, and would now say that there will be a preliminaries match. Everyone's matches would go to the exact same, that being Sasuke versus the random, sound ninja, I'm pretty sure, and he would be able to defeat him as he doesn't have the curse mark, neither or doesn't. He can also use the chakra, his chakra as well as that. All the other matches would go the same. Gara would cripple Rock Lee, but Rock Lee's fight would still be, absolutely legendary. The only fight that would change would be Kiba versus Naruto. As I said before, Naruto wouldn't have done a lot of fights during his time in the academy, so a lot of people would think that he's really physically weak, but Team 7 knows that that's absolutely wrong, and that Naruto is an absolute powerhouse compared to anybody else in the village, and he is definitely Kage level from what they've seen, being able to, one-shot Orochimaru, the literal Sannin of the village who had gone off missing, and joined the Akatsuki. With that being said, Naruto would try to make this fight as easy as possible, and would instead use one almighty push on Kiba, launching him with relative force into the wall, knocking him out instantly. The village were, kind of seeing this, as this is a preliminary match of the Chunin exams, and there would be a few people there watching. They would start to cheer for Naruto, and Naruto would start to get a type of recognition from the village, as the villagers now realize that, he's a strong ninja, and he would get respect from the other ninjas that are watching this. With that being said, the 1 month break would now finish, and Naruto would go off wandering around the village. Well, no, the 1 month wouldn't finish, it would start at that point. So Naruto would go off wandering around the village, and would then see Jiraiya peeping on a whole bunch of girls in the little spa in Konoha. Naruto would immediately have a giant smile on his face, and would run towards Jiraiya, going at an incredible speed, being faster than anybody can really perceive. I would launch in Jiraiya, hugging him, telling that he's finally back, and then he was so bored here in the village hidden in the leaves. Jiraiya would immediately hug Naruto back and saying that he's here to, give him a little training for this exam, as he knows that Naruto is extremely strong at this point, but there's no harm being done training him even more. Naruto would, with Jiraiya, would kind of have the 1 month time skip, taking a bit of, a lax type of trip, as there's not much that Jiraiya really needs to teach Naruto at this point. Alexa just went off. No. Anyway, what was it? Yeah, so they would take the 1 month training trip with, relative ease, not really doing a lot of training, but instead a lot of meditation, and would start to get a little grasp on Sage Jutsu, as Naruto doesn't have the summoning jutsu of the toads, but he would have known a bunch of the toads, as I said before, growing up with them. He would know a lot about them. With the 1 month now being finished, everyone would go back to the original places that they were before, with the original people versus the original people. In the stadium, it would be packed with a whole bunch of villagers and ninjas alike surrounding the area, all having big spirit for the Chunin exams finals. Everyone would have the original, and Sasuke vs Gara would have the first fight, but Sasuke would be late, like in the original, and would have to take a break, but move the fight from first place to last place. So the next fight would be Naruto versus Neji. With the fight between the two of them, it would be, again, a very simple way to do this. Neji would say that his dojutsu is definitely superior to that weak dojutsu that Naruto has, not knowing of the absolute power of the dojutsu that Naruto has, as well as, the little chakra battery that he has inside of him, that being the Nine Tails. Naruto would have a kind of dull look on his face, looking at Neji, who has an arrogant smirk on his face. Neji would immediately try to rush towards Naruto, but with one quick 2 words, almighty push, Neji would be slammed into the wall, much like what Neji was, and having kind of deja vu in the people watching this. Neji would slam into the wall, being knocked out instantly as it made a massive dent in the wall, and he would fall face first into the floor, being knocked out completely. the match would end and Naruto would be granted the winner of the match and would go off later into the finals. With all the other matches going the exact same, the last match would be Sasky versus Gara, in which Sasky would be fighting Gara and would be winning at this point, but as we all know, the Konoha Crush would now begin. With feathers flying down from the sky, a genjutsu would now take over everybody in the arena, knocking out a lot of the civilians that are in the arena, as well as a few ninja. Naruto wouldn't be affected by this genjutsu whatsoever, because, you know, he has the Rinnegan and all that type of stuff, and he's absolutely powerful. So Naruto would try to wake up a few other people, such as the other ninjas, and try to get them to help protect a lot of the civilians, as well as protecting the civilians themselves by himself as well. Naruto would launch himself down to the middle of the arena, and would use an almighty pull, and would pull a lot of the ninja that are trying to harm the other ninjas from, you know, the grass village, the sound village, as well as the sand village. He would pull them all towards him, and flying towards him, Naruto would unsheath or kind of create the metal rod and would stab every single ninja that he sees that was flying towards him, as well as the other sound village ninja as well. Naruto would take care of a lot of the ninjas there and would use his human path to summon in the massive dogs, the massive multi-headed dog, as well as the other summons like the giant rhinos, as well as the chameleon, giant bird, and a whole bunch of the other summons, basically every single summon that he had at that point, and would send them across the village to help defend against the summons that Orochimaru has done, like the massive snakes at the edge of the village. The summons would run throughout the village, saving as many people as possible, stomping down on as many ninjas as possible, and with the Rinnegan being able to see through the eyes of the summons, Naruto would have a full scoop of the entire village, with the giant bird soaring over the head of the entire village. He'd be able to have basically as much perception of everything happening all at once. Naruto would see that Sasuke is now chasing after Gara, as well as the Sand Trio, or Gara, Kankuro, and Temari, as Gara is starting to transform into his half Shikaku state, having a pretty demonic look on his face, as well as the sand surrounding his arms and basically his body at this point. Gara, as well as Sasuke, reaching to their final destination near a whole bunch of the forest around them. Sasuke would try to attack Gara, but that wouldn't really go into Sasuke's way anymore, as Gara's ability to use his sand as well as his strength and chakra would be multiplied, and he would absolutely dog walk Sasuke. Naruto, launching himself into the situation, he would use the almighty pull onto Gara, and with Gara soaring towards him, Naruto would pump as much chakra as he can to his fist and would punch Gara straight in the face, sending him miles and miles away, destroying a lot of the trees around him. Naruto would again take Sasuke and see that he's been beaten to a pulp, and would summon the King of Hell, sending him right into there, throwing him into the mouth of, the King of Hell. And Sasuke would be spit back out, fully healed, and would have all of his stamina back. He would see Naruto and see that Naruto has a really annoyed look on his face, as he is using a lot of chakra at this point. Because he used a lot of chakra, Naruto would think that the only real thing that he has to do now is go talk to the fox. With all this happening, and Gara still trying to get up, as he was literally launched miles away, and was now trying to recuperate after that real hell of a punch that was sent his way. He would start to get up, but, all that stuff would be very difficult for him. Back with Naruto, he would tell Sasuke to defend himself, as he doesn't want to be interrupted by Kankuro or Temari. Sasuke would nod, launching himself towards Temari and Kankuro, and would get into a battle with them, and would immediately win that fight, as at this point Sasuke is way stronger than the two of them combined. Naruto, in his mindscape, would see Kurama, the Nine-Tails Fox Demon, as Naruto is literally been blessed by the Sage of Six Paths. He would have a much better relationship with the Nine-Tails Fox, as Kurama would realize that his father's chakra is inside this boy, and as he has the Rinnegan, which was pretty much naturally awakened and wasn't evolved from the Sharingan that his father definitely has a play in this, and would realize that the boy that Hogoromo had spoken about a long time ago, saying that he will unite all the beasts together back once again. He would now have a kind of trusting relationship in Naruto, but doesn't fully have the relationship like he does at the final of Naruto Shippuden, but instead has a kind of partner-like relationship with Naruto, not giving him all his chakra, but allowing Naruto to take a bit of his chakra, or a good plenty of it, like 25% of his chakra, of the half that he has inside him already, and that would pretty much be it. Naruto would thank Kurama, as he knows his name already, telling Kurama, while saying his name, the thank you, and that he needs to take care of Shikaku. Kurama would say that that's the one-tailed demon raccoon, I guess? Yeah, kind of the raccoon. I would say that he has a real good sound manipulation as well as his sealing abilities, and to not get caught up in it. Naruto would say that he's got everything handled, and he's not going to kill Gara, as he doesn't want, to put the one-tails in any more pain than he has already being sealed into a Jinchuriki. With that being said, Naruto would get out of his mindscape and would see that Gara is launching himself towards him, surrounding himself in more and more sand. Naruto, who now has a kind of chakra cloak around him, not being the KCM one, or any of the other cloaks, but instead like a three tails type of cloak around him. Not much, it would be the like monster fox type of chakra, but instead the slight glow around him with the Naruto's chakra with three tails swaying behind him. Naruto now having a massive amount of chakra behind him, he'd be able to spam the Rinnegan abilities with pretty much ease at this point. Launching himself, he would go towards Gara and would change his arm into a massive chainsaw using the Ashura path, and would start to cut down on the sand that's being shot towards him, as well as using the Praetor path to absorb the sand being shot towards him, as well as the sand is chakra at this point. Yeah, I think the sand would be chakra, so it would be absorbed by the Praetor path. So a lot of the jutsus that Shikaku with the one-tails or Gara being shot at him would be easily able to be absorbed by Naruto. With that being said, the fight would kind of go like in the original, and Shikaku or the one-tails would take over Gara's body, forming into the full one-tail state. Naruto realizing that this could be, a bit of a struggle, as he doesn't want the one-tails to send a massive sand bullet towards the village, he would decide that he must do what he has to do. He would use the chakra that he has with him, as well as the nine-tails chakra, and would start to form a nine-tails pseudo Biju mode like he does in the Naruto Shippuden, where the nine-tails kind of gets summoned into it. So he has the giant nine-tails avatar. Now, with the nine-tails being shown, a lot of the villagers would be absolutely terrified, as it looks like the nine-tails is versing the one-tails, but the nine-tails looks different. It's made out of pure chakra and not the furry beast that is what they've last seen. With Naruto having the Rinnegan, the nine-tails avatar, going towards the one-tails, the fight would pretty much be in Naruto's favor, and Naruto would be able to immediately wake up Gara, who had used the possum jutsu. Naruto now using his Toku no Jutsu on Gara, Gara would have the exact same resolve as he does in the original, and with Hiruzen, who has sadly died, same like the original after facing off with Orochimaru, sealing his arms, that would be the finish to Konoha Crush. So yeah guys, that's where I'm going to leave it off. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So yeah, I'll be probably going back to doing a video once every 3 days, as I still got a lot of work to do for school, so I can't really spend a lot of time on doing this stuff, but I will be trying to post as regularly as possible in a 3-day type of scenario. If you guys did like this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button. It really does mean a lot, as well as put down in the comments if you have any what if suggestions. So with that being said, I'll see you guys later.